This is Cast of Wonders, the young adult fiction podcast featuring stories of the fantastic. Welcome. I'm Katherine Inskip, your editor and host. Episode 670 is our 47th Little Wonders collection and our festive special episode where we wish you a very creepy Christmas. Our first story is Family Christmas by Anne Wilkins, a Cast of Wonders original. Anne Wilkins is a sleep-deprived New Zealand teacher who writes in her spare time, which she has very little of. Her short fiction has appeared in Apex magazine, Cosmic Horror Monthly, Utopia magazine, Small Wonders, The Dark, Elegant Literature, Sci-Fi Shorts and more. She won the June 2024 Elegant Literature Prize, the 2023 Autumn Writers' Battle, and the 2023 Cambridge Autumn Festival Short Story Competition. Anne was a finalist for the 2025 Kurt Vonnegut Speculative Literary Prize, the 2024 London Independent Story Prize, and placed third in the Hammond House 2024 International Literary Prize. She is shortlisted for the 2025 Bristol Short Story Prize. Her love of writing is fueled by copious amounts of coffee, reading, and hope. This story is narrated by Alexis Goble. Alexis is a multi-class disaster human living with her husband in Cincinnati. When she isn't designing pins for Pinny.com or yelling about TV into a mic for Bold Move, she dabbles in a revolving menu of hobbies and art projects. To list them all would be sheer madness. Like any good bisexual, she has a lot of jackets. You can find her on social media at Alexis on Paper. Both of today's stories come with a content warning for implied harm to animals and cannibalism. And now, we've a tale to tell.
Family Christmas by Anne Wilkins. Narrated by Alexis Goble. I'm hanging Great Auntie Jane on our tree by one pipe cleaner leg, while my sister Daisy places Great Uncle Richard. Careful with those ones, Mama warns. They've always been a bit flimsy. They should have taken more care, Daisy says. Great Uncle Richard is just an old wooden clothes peg, the kind you hang out on the washing line, but with sticks for arms and legs. Every Christmas, we end up hot gluing those legs and arms back on, as they're always falling off. There's only a tuft of his hair left, but Mama says that don't matter so much, as he was half bald anyway. Great Auntie Jane is only slightly better. She's an old piece of doweling with small holes drilled into her body for where her pipe cleaner arms and legs fit. Those pipe cleaners are so worn through that you can see the metal, but Mama says that's how Auntie made her, so that's how she'll stay. I'm also thinking Auntie must have been half blind when she made her decoration, because the bright red lips she painted on are huge. Some people don't spend much time on their decoration, Mama reminds us. They ain't got time, or they don't like to think of dying. Sometimes people gotta finish it for them. This one's my favorite, I say, and I pull out Papa. He only died last year. The big C got him in the end. Cancer spreading all over his body faster than the doctors could catch it. He made a great job with his decoration, carved it himself. Papa was real good at wood whittling, and this one's made out of walnut, like the color his skin was. He's wearing a fancy black and white suit with a little red bow tie. Papa's black hair rests on top, real hair that Mama snipped off at the funeral home. He painted on the nicest face, with two bright red cheeks and a white smile. The doorbell rings, and Daisy runs to get it, like she's the family dog having a good old bark and a look-see. I can't help but follow her. It's Martha from down the road. She's in my class at school. She's got her fancy gloves and hat on to protect her from the snow, and she's carrying pieces of paper. Any of you seen Mittens? She asks, and she gives us one of those pieces of paper. Lost Cat, it reads, and there's a picture of old Mittens on the front. No, we haven't, says Mama. How old is Mittens, dear? 20-something. Oh, that's a good age for a cat. I'm sure Mittens will find his way home. I hope so. You want to play, Martha? I ask. We're setting up our Christmas tree. She looks uncertain, but then shrugs her shoulders. Okay, maybe for a while. Mama gets to busy and in the kitchen, and we take Martha to our living room. When we show Martha our tree, her little nose turns up. That's your tree? Yeah, our family tree. Each one of those decorations is handmade, and each one is someone that passed on. Daisy and I take turns, showing her all the relatives and sharing their stories. We even show her the oldest one, from the 1600s. Wilfred is a round pine cone with sticks for arms, and old yellowed teeth jammed in between the scales. Wilfred's a real character. We don't have all of them. Some of them got burnt in a fire. Mama never likes to talk about that part of our history. Burning used to be a thing in the olden days. Don't you have any normal decorations? Asks Martha. Her face is all wrinkled up. She doesn't even want to touch our decorations, and her hands are firmly buried in her pockets. What do you mean? Like ones you bought from the store. No, these are better. It's our family. I don't mention the money part, the bit where Mama always says, money doesn't grow on trees. Martha leaves soon afterward. Good luck in finding mittens, I call. Martha hurries away so fast she almost trips up in the snow. That night, me, Daisy, and Mama gather around our tree. This year, we even got some lights for it, even though money's tight. Mama brings out the newest decoration, Daddy. Daddy never had time to whittle his own decoration, just like he never had time to swerve out of the way of the truck. But Mama's been working on a decoration for him. Daisy and I helped. Mama's made it out of birch wood, because it's the closest to Daddy's skin color. The Daddy ornament's even wearing a scrap of one of his shirts, with real buttons that I helped sew on. Mama cut a lock of his hair before he was buried, and that's glue-gunned onto his head, along with some plastic googly eyes. He came up great, I say. He even has a hole in the crook of his elbow where he can hang from. Mama gets a little teary, and so do Daisy and I. We hug like that, all three of us beside our family tree while the lights blink and flash. Christmas time is about spending time with family, the ones you love, Mama says. I want you girls to remember that. Daisy and I nod. And it don't matter that we haven't got one of those giant-sized trees or fancy decorations, because we've still got each other. Family's all that counts. Daisy and I give Mama the biggest hug, so big that it feels like we might just melt into each other. You girls wait here. I'll bring the offering. Mama goes down to the basement and comes back with mittens. He's had a good life, says Mama, as she makes the cut with the turkey knife. After it's done, we paint each one of our decorations with a spot of Mitten's blood, while Mama makes the incantation. Daddy's the first to come alive. His decoration comes right up to us and gives us a hug. Mama picks him up, and he gives her a kiss with those wooden lips. Missed you, he says. We'll always have Christmas time, says Mama, wiping her tears away. Daisy and I play with all our relatives as they start waking up and sharing our news. It's like this every year. Mitten's blood will probably keep them all alive for a week, but after that, we'll need something else, something bigger, to get us through to New Year. It makes me wonder if Martha will want to come over again soon, to meet the whole family.
Family traditions are my favourite part of Christmas. I love decorating our Christmas tree, placing the ornaments, some inherited, some made by myself as a child, some made by my own children, and so many other gifts and memories in between. It's a very special time of year for me. Christmas is traditionally a time for family, but if your family is best avoided for whatever reason, racist relatives, queer phobia, general unpleasantness, or a tendency to sacrifice the neighbours in cultish rituals, it's absolutely fine to steer well clear and make your own traditions. Our second story is Christmas at Grandma Minerva's by K.T. Wagner, which was first published in Short and Twisted Christmas Tales, North Texas Speculative Fiction Workshop in fall 2017 and reprinted at Metastella in December 2021. Surrounded by gnomes, gargoyles and poisonous plants, K.T. Wagner writes speculative fiction and poetry in the garden of her Maple Ridge, British Columbia home. She enjoys daydreaming and is a collector of strange plants, weird trivia and obscure tomes. In her spare time, she organises writer events and works to create literary community. Katie graduated from Simon Fraser University's Writers' Studio in 2015. Her work is published and podcast with Pulp Literature, On Spec, Cosmic Horror Monthly, Haven Spec, and more. She's currently working on a gothic horror novella. Katie can be found online and on social media. This story is narrated by Jen Zink. Jen Zink, she, her, is a freelance podcast editor with work at Book Riot, How Do You Know, Backbox Pinball Podcast, and more. Additionally, she is a co-producer and sound designer for Ransom Media Productions, working on Nightlight Podcast, an award-winning horror podcast featuring stories by Black writers, and Afflicted, a full-cast horror audio drama. She is a former co-producer and host of the SFF podcast, The Skiffy and Fanty Show, and a 4-time Hugo finalist for her work on the show. Jen has been an unconvincing homemaker for over 20 years and is passionate about all things speculative fiction. Otherwise, she neglects gardening, offends art, overbrews tea and attempts sleep, though not necessarily in that order or all at one time. Find all her details at loopdeloo.com. And now, we've another tale to tell.
Christmas at Grandma Minerva's by Katherine Wagner. Narrated by Jen Zink. The oven clock read 7:46 a.m. on Christmas Eve day when the banging on Minerva's apartment door started. She ignored the intrusion. Too many dangers lurked outside her little apartment. Her kitchen timer chimed and she scrambled to pull on oven gloves. Her cat, Lucky, jumped onto the counter. "Shoo! Down from there!" The gingerbread ninja cookies for her grandchildren were perfectly baked. Her brother Abner would pick up her son and his family at the airport that afternoon. She inhaled the spicy scents of ginger and molasses. The door pounding started up again. Lucky meowed. "I guess I'd better check it out," Minerva grumbled. A butcher knife in one hand and her trusty broom handle with the nails pounded through one end in the other, she shuffled across the room, stood on tiptoe, and squinted through the peephole. Her neighbor Louise peered back. Her face appeared distorted, but the brought alarm hadn't gone off. Bang, bang, bang. "Hold your ever-lovin' horses, Louise!" Minerva fumbled with the 6 locks. One couldn't be too careful, what with all the troubles. Minerva turned the knob and the door burst open. Louise filled the doorway, hands on hips. Minerva brandished her weapons, looking the intruding woman up and down. "Stick your tongue out," she ordered, knowing full well Louise was fine. Louise rolled her eyes and complied. Minerva nodded. "Shut the door." Cheeks red, Louise struggled to catch her breath. "Daughter, called, the one who works at Bullseye. Ran to tell you." Louise heaved and gasped. She bragged about her daughter endlessly. Minerva didn't hear much from her own son and was forced to make things up about him to tell Louise. Minerva tuned Louise out and pictured her son and grandchildren's visit to her apartment. Everything for Christmas Eve must be perfect. They'd leave in the morning to visit her daughter-in-law's family for Christmas Day, and who knew when they'd be back. She glanced back at the kitchen and sighed. From experience, she knew it was best to hear Louise out. She'd leave quicker that way. Something Louise said caught her attention. "Trying to order a monster family house for your grandkiddies?" Louise fanned herself with one hand. "You and everyone else. Well, I told my daughter, these people are dreaming if they think they'll find one." Minerva blinked. Louise did love to drag things out, but she'd caught her interest. "Why don't you come in and sit, Louise? I've got more baking to do." "You can finish later. My daughter says they just received a late shipment." She paused dramatically. "A crate of Monster Family House starter kits. They're putting them out now and they open at 9. You have to get over there." Minerva gasped. She'd given up on acquiring the prized toy of the year. She set aside the knife and the broom handle, wrapped her arms around Louise and squeezed. "Thanks. I owe you." "Yes, you do." Louise let herself out. Minerva reset the locks, quickly downed a couple of extra-strength acetaminophen for her arthritis, and grabbed her late husband's hickory cane. She needed to get moving before Louise posted the news on Facebook. Standing at the front of the throng of parents and grandparents outside Bullseye, Minerva experienced a twinge of unease. What was she thinking? It was foolish to queue up for a toy. The regular drills at her seniors complex stressed the importance of avoiding crowds because they attracted the infected. She silently chided herself. Don't be silly. It must be safe if so many are out. The store will have taken precautions. Louise had drawn her a little map of its location, and she'd be one of the first to reach the display. Minerva braced herself as the doors swung open, then charged. Around a corner, a stack of Monster Family starter kits formed a pyramid in the middle of the aisle. Her path clear, she hobbled along, already hearing her grandchildren's shrieks of delight. She wrapped an arm around a box, turned and faced the mob, ducked her head, and led with her shoulder. Hands grasped at her prize. An angry grandma growled in her ear. Someone tried to trip her. With one hand, she swung her cane. The shrieks still echoed, but they sounded more scared than delighted. Pain tore through her shoulder. She struck out with the walking stick, knowing it was already too late, and she'd been infected. She hid under a rack of Santa suits and peeled back her cardigan sleeve. The skin had been broken in an oval pattern. A bite, no doubt about it, but she could still move her arm. She rebuttoned the cardigan and arranged her shawl to cover the tear. Halfway to the exit, a policewoman stopped her. Minerva panicked. "My name's Louise. My daughter works here." Down the aisle, a young paramedic attempted to calm down a knot of gesturing grannies, all claiming ownership of the same walker. A ponytailed soccer mom lurched by and sank her teeth into the arm of one of the grannies. The police officer shouted at Minerva, "Wait there!" and ran off. 24 to 48 hours for full symptoms. They'd just cart her off to the holding center until she manifested, and she'd never see her son and grandchildren again. She scuttled out of the mall and home, toy still in hand. In her apartment, she dragged her knitting basket over to Harvey's old recliner, hoping to find comfort in her late husband's presence. Her fingers didn't ache like they usually did, but the joints felt a little soft and sort of spongy. The larger knitting needles were easier to handle. She cast on a row of stitches. After a few minutes, she paused. Better to be safe. She removed her false teeth and buried them deep in the basket. Lucky meowed from across the room and behind the couch. Hours later, Minerva's family spilled into her tiny apartment, all rosy smiles and shrieking laughter. Abner held up a blanket-draped bird cage. "Had to bring Tweety, else she'd pine for us." He looked around. "Where's that damn cat?" Minerva waved toward the kitchen. "Hang it from the hook by the window. I'll keep the door shut." Lights twinkled, decorations shone, and the children gathered around the tree. "Can we open the presents, Grandma? Please, please?" Minerva shook her head. "After we eat, I've made all your favorites." She'd worked the rest of the day preparing and hadn't needed an afternoon nap. She'd felt fit and fine, if a little wobbly when she walked. She hugged her nearest grandchild, Celeste, and the sweet scent of cinnamon enveloped her. The child smelled delicious. She inhaled deeply, leaned forward, and backed away quickly, her hand clamped over her nose. "Help yourself to food." Her voice rumbled out, low and gravelly. No one seemed to notice. Minerva couldn't relax. Her appetite for the food on the table was non-existent, so she sat down and continued her knitting. The scarf already measured almost 5 feet. "Grandma, are there any more mincemeat tarts?" Keenan, her youngest grandchild, asked. His cinnamon aroma beckoned. Minerva's heart thudded against her ribcage. "They're in the kitchen, sweetie. I'll get them." The canary smelled like chili chocolate, her favorite. Minerva stood behind the closed kitchen door and tried to focus on the happy sounds of her grandchildren. It wasn't enough. "Meow." Lucky twined around her ankles. His curry ginger aroma wafted up. Her stomach rumbled. Her arms and legs twitched. A low moan escaped her lips as a wave of hunger washed over her. Minerva settled back into Harvey's recliner. Her family laughed and sang. She felt in control again, but as a precaution, she wrapped the length of the scarf around herself and the chair before continuing to knit. "Grandma, will you play Monster Family with us?" Celeste stared up with liquid brown eyes, the scent of cinnamon heavy in the air. "No, child," Minerva waved her off, "but I'll watch from here." She belched softly, and a tiny yellow feather puffed out of her mouth. No one noticed the draft from the open kitchen window. She hoped they believed a guilty Lucky had fled through it. Pushing away a twinge of guilt, she kept knitting. Alone in her apartment the next morning, Minerva found it awkward to disengage herself from the scarf she'd knit all night. It was wrapped around her abdomen, arms, and neck. A good idea while her family was there, but they'd left a few minutes earlier. She'd pleaded aching bones and holiday cold and waved goodbye from the recliner. Disentangling herself was taking a long time, and she needed to reset the locks. "Minerva! Minerva! Are you there?" Louise called out in her annoying sing-song voice. Oh no. Minerva frowned. Her cheekbones cracked loudly. For once, can't Louise just leave me alone? There you are! You poor thing, left alone on Christmas Day. My daughter and her kids are staying until tomorrow. Louise started fussing with the scarf. You are all wrapped up. What do you want? Minerva ground out. Oh dear, you've been crying. I can't understand a word. Louise leaned over her. I'd cry too if my family left me on Christmas morning. The aroma of candied bacon almost overwhelmed Minerva. She closed her eyes and held her breath. You need to leave, Louise. What's that? Have you been drinking? I see there are lots of leftovers. It must be so upsetting to look at all that extra food. Listen, I have more family in my apartment than I planned for. My grandchildren will love your Ninja Gingerbread cookies. Minerva smacked her gums, savored the bacon scent, and reached deep into her knitting basket. Louise was packaging leftovers as Minerva slipped her false teeth back in and lurched to her feet. Merry Christmas to me, she moaned and grabbed Louise's arm.
I love how this story opens with the true meaning of Christmas, scrambling through grasping consumerism in the hope of making someone happy. It also has a very the show must go on theme running solidly throughout. Don't let others down, don't spoil their Christmas. Don't let on that you're unwell or unhappy, or heaven help you, don't feel up to socialising. Christmas can be very, very overwhelming. If you need time out to sleep off the food coma, or escape from noisy toys, or just to find some room for yourself, go for it. And if someone close to you seems uncomfortable with all the festivities, they probably just need a little bit of downtime. Probably. I'm sure they won't zombie out on you at all. But no harm in being safe, right? Happy Christmas, everyone. Eat well and be merry, and join us again soon. We love bringing you the best audio fiction week after week, but we can't do it without your support. Right now, Escape Artists has the opportunity to receive $10,000 thanks to several generous supporters. Between now and December 31st, your support will have twice the impact. Every dollar you donate will be matched 1-to-1, helping us get closer to unlocking all $10,000 in the matching gift fund. That means if you donate $7, our new base subscription fee for ad-free episodes, it will become a $14 gift. $25 becomes $50. $1,571 becomes $3,142, pleasantly but roughly approximating pi times 1,000. If you make a one-time gift, it will go twice as far today, but if you subscribe, you will have twice the impact for the rest of the year. Monthly donations ensure we can plan ahead with a reliable income, which means we can publish more original stories, devote more time to editorial excellence, plan for the future, and more. Whether you're a new subscriber or a dedicated fan, thank you. We're so grateful you're part of this journey, and we couldn't do what we do without your incredible support. Thank you for helping us bring free and accessible speculative audio fiction to listeners around the globe. You can join the discussion on the EA Discord and visit us on Blue Sky at castofwonders.org. Come say hello. Cast of Wonders is brought to you by editor Katherine Inskip, assistant editors Alicia Caparasso and Amy Brennan, associate editors Rebecca Arn, Tanya Adelit, Kit Kaelstow, Cup Jacob, Adri Joy, Becca Miles, Ray O, Samuel Poots, Emma Smales, Denise Udell, Ella Navarre, Rin Yi, and Angela Zazueta. Our audio producers are Jeremy Carter and Andrew Jack. Cast of Wonders is part of the Escape Artists Foundation, a 501c3 non-profit, and this episode is distributed under the Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 International License. That means you can download or listen to the episode on any device you like, but you can't change it or sell it. The Little Wonders theme music is Neversus by Alexis Nov, available from Promo DJ or his Facebook page. Thank you for listening.